What's up, guys? Teddy Cornwell here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk. Something about the underdog. I was gonna try and do an Irish accent and to go today with a fucking man, but I just decided not to do that, and I'm glad I didn't, but I did, so it doesn't really matter. But before we get into this interview, I have to give this gentleman a proper Underdog Talk introduction. Hailing from the great state of South Dakota, this gentleman is an IFBB pro, the CEO, head honcho, and owner of the best damn tasting peanut butter out there, a proud father, and an icon meals athlete. I'm proud and honored to present the one and only Mr. Brandan Fokken on the show. What is up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Today's a good day, so I can't complain. I cannot complain.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here, excited to chat with you. You've had quite a few icons on your show. When you first hit me up, you hit me with a list of people, and like I said, I would have done this just to do this. I love doing this kind of stuff. But you've attracted quite a who's who list of, our industry and business people and whatnot. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Brandon, we've been around for a month and a half, so we have a lot more to come on, and there's some huge names which I wish I could share right now, but they're being contracted right now with us, so we'll have some big things coming on. Now, Brandon, speaking of big names, before I start, can your son coach me in the art of social media? And for those who don't know, Brandon, your son's 6 years old, right?
He's five.
Five, and he has 14,000 followers on Instagram. He's going to grow up to be the next Brad Pitt. How did that happen?
His mom actually started a social media for him when she was pregnant. He's lost some followers over the years. He was at like 22,000 Instagram followers, but I think anybody that's on any social media knows that a lot of the platforms out there, over the last few years just haven't been reliable, so to speak. And he's got a following, but he's done some pretty cool stuff. He's done a ton of expos, photo shoots. He's been on 2 international fitness magazine covers. He's been in, I think, 8 or 9 magazines, everything from Muscle and Fitness to Train. So he's been out there. Yeah, last year alone he was on 2 covers with me. So yeah, he's done quite a bit by the age of 5.
And that's an early investment that paid off right there. That's genius. I think that's something that we got to start doing, creating social media, outlets for our children before they're even born, so they come into the world a star. I love that idea. I'm not gonna lie with you, Brandon. I think that might be something you might be onto something there. But now, Brandon, I want to start from the beginning with you. You started going to the gym, at the end of high school, and like everyone, you wanted to be like that guy, the Austrian oak, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But you just didn't have that fitness knowledge, and we start off, we don't have that knowledge. But you have that now, and it affected how much muscle you've gained over the years with that knowledge that you've gained. But what went into that process of bettering your knowledge on health and fitness, Brandon?
I started weight training at the age of 14, and in high school, the hierarchy of who's cool is what you can bench press. Yeah. And I was a great athlete. I could run, I could jump, I could play all the sports, but I wasn't strong. I couldn't bench press 100 pounds, and I got made fun of for it. And if you follow anything I put out there over the years, I always say that I'd go in the library, and back then internet wasn't really a thing. I'm that old. And so we had Muscle and Fitness and Muscle Mag and all that. And I started to follow Michael Hearn way back when. He's been in this industry forever. And I just took his workouts and stuff like that and followed him. And I did that, through high school. And when I got out of high school, that's when I got, far, far, far more into the weight training. And but I took those principles that I learned through reading. Again, we didn't have the internet. We couldn't read about nutrition or supplementation. Back then it was EAS. It was super expensive. They had like Betagen and products like that were like $150 a jar or something. It was crazy. And yeah, I had a love for weight training, and it wasn't something that I was a natural at, but it's something that after I put years into it, I started to see dividends, in my work, and I've been doing it ever since.
And I mean, Brandon, you are damn old. No, I'm playing. But become better you do as you entered the 2010 Fargo Upper Middle Midwest competition, not middle, Midwest competition to
Yep.
start your competitive bodybuilding career. You finished, third, which is really damn good. But you realized that bodybuilding, wasn't what you wanted to do. You actually preferred the men's physique division. Now, would you mind talking about the difference between the two, and then why did you switch to men's physique, Brandon?
Um, going way back then, I'll be 43 this year, and so I started competing at 30. Didn't have a clue what I was doing at all, and all we had then was bodybuilding. And I came in as a light heavyweight, and back then the bodybuilding aspect of the show was what it was. And I took third my first show. A few weeks later, I actually took first at my next show. And then the following year, I came in as a heavyweight and I took first again. I was supposed to go on and do a second show, and I had hurt my leg at the time. And my leg was swollen. I had a slight tear, and I just knew it wasn't going to show well. Well, it was the first physique show in Minnesota ever. And so I opted to pull out of bodybuilding, a heavyweight bodybuilder, and basically just starve myself for 2 weeks trying to drop weight to show up for that contest. And it's funny because back then, man, I kept joking with friends and stuff like I was going to be ridiculed for doing it. Like I'm up there in board shorts, right?
Yeah.
And I ended up doing it, and I liked it. And that specific class is what enabled me to do a lot of the things that I did in the fitness industry. As a bodybuilder, man, I was never going to be a huge hulking person. In my off season, I look big, but I'm not a big guy, to be honest. Like I went pro at 6'1" at 179 pounds. It's my dimensions and my joints and everything that make me look bigger than I am. I got tiny wrists and elbows. I got really round shoulders and chest and small waist. So when I went pro, I was standing next to guys that outweighed me by 50, 60 pounds in physique. And I still won, based on, what bodybuilding is. It's an illusion, so to speak. So yeah, that's why I transitioned. And, I was better because of it. I got in at the right time. When social media was essentially just starting on Instagram and stuff like that. And like I said, it enabled me to do things I would have never done in bodybuilding.
And I mean, hell yeah, Brandon. I mean, that switch did pay off as in 2016, you entered the IFBB pro circuit, and took your fitness career to the next stage. Congratulations, man. I mean, that's a huge deal. I mean, obviously you put the work in, but I mean, congratulations. What was that work that you put in to become an IFB BB pro and go to that next level?
It's funny. So before that, I won the Muscle and Fitness male model contest 3 years in a row. And that enabled me to go to the Olympia and compete there, against, it was usually 80 to 90 guys from around the world.
Wow.
And I placed top 3 in that each year. My last year, I took second to Sergey Constance, who obviously blew up in our industry. But I was actually offered the same thing he got as a winner. I got the whole photo shoot with Muscle and Fitness and all that stuff. But while I was there, I happened to go through the bodybuilding.com booth, and Jamie Easton, who was the top fitness model at the time, it was her and Greg Plitt. She was the female, he was the male, and they were, the top 2 in our industry way back when. And bodybuilding.com was king. Like there was nothing above it at the time. Back then you didn't just make your own supplements. You needed a place to host it and sell it and all that stuff. And so they told me, like, you can be somebody in our industry. And I had never heard that before, right? And, so from there, I signed up for the bodybuilding.com spokesmodel contest, became a finalist. I signed a contract with them. And then that's when my fitness career started to take off. I was signed with, bodybuilding.com. Then I was the face of B Sports Nutrition. Then I left them and I was the face of Dymatize. I mean, obviously one of the biggest brands on the planet. And I was working with Icon Meals, who I've been with for, almost 9 years now. Quest Nutrition. I mean, you name the company that wasn't conflicting. I was never the person that jumped from company to company, like supplement to supplement. I just worked with so many different companies. Nuts and More was one of my first sponsorships. And so it's funny, I have a peanut butter line now. But I worked with kind of everybody that didn't conflict with each other. And so with that, I was doing photo shoots all the time and video shoots for bodybuilding.com, and I started landing magazine covers. And so when I went pro, I wasn't planning on competing, to be honest. I was getting ready for an Ironman cover shoot, a muscle cover shoot, content for Dymatize, content for bodybuilding.com. So I was dieting for that. And 3 weeks before the show, I ended up entering. And I didn't tell anybody. I entered, and then that morning I made a post that, hey, I'm in Pittsburgh. Apparently it's the biggest national show ever. I'm going to compete today. And I ended up winning and went pro. So, so it wasn't anything that I was specifically out for. Like when I first started competing, I wanted to go pro. Like that's what everybody wanted, but I didn't really understand what pro meant. And that was also when there wasn't any, physique pros or anything like that. Like now there's a ton of us out there because there's been so many years in between. But it didn't have as much value to me anymore as it did prior because I'd competed for years, but I had so much success, with contracts and with brands and stuff like that, that the competing kind of took an offshoot. And, along with that, I got into judging. I worked my way through the ranks and became an IFBB pro judge also under Jack Tatone, who really took the time to, work with me and help me over the years to get to that. Another person with that was Tom Kemper from up there in Minnesota and in North Dakota, a great promoter up there. Really took the time to help guide me, to get me, into those things and gave me opportunities. But Jack, took a shot on me and allowed me to do dual, an IFBB pro competitor and as a judge. And then it got to the point where I was coaching so much and I loved judging so much that the competition part just didn't appeal to me like it had in the past. So I took a big step back from that and focused on the things that I was passionate about. And that was, guiding and bringing the new age of athletes up and doing it the right way and not destroying people's metabolisms and hormones and everything else and all the other stuff we hear in our industry. And then being a competent judge, and I'm not dissing on any judges, but you always hear, qualms about judging. Well, they did this or they did that. I can tell you from experience, sitting on these judging panels is hard. It's extremely hard.
Yeah.
When people are very close. So really trying to hone that in and become better at that, so one thing I let go of, I replaced it with other things. And, I don't regret any of those choices that I've made. And judging is something that I've taken since COVID off, but I'm ready to get back to doing that too.
Wow. And I mean, Brandon, you are a man of many talents. I mean, a fitness model, published writer, sponsored athlete. I mean, the list just goes on and on. But the big thing is I want to focus on you right now is you're also a very inspirational guy, so what's your biggest tip for someone who's just starting that, their fitness journey like you once were?
I tell clients and friends, it's baby steps. I've had so many amazing things happen to me through the world of fitness, and people think that success, this is where I want to be, right? And on their path there, they divert this way and they think, well, I'm not successful because I didn't take that straight path to here, right? Well, in that diversion, you learned, you grew, you developed, right? And so taking what you learn along the way and taking those baby steps here, there, and wherever, success is success. Yeah. Any path forward, you're growing and developing and you're bettering yourself, for that next thing. And what you thought that you wanted, by the time you get there, you may not even want it anymore, right? But along the way, you've accomplished and done all these other great things. And that's kind of what my career did, So with that, what I'm saying is don't be hard on yourself. Don't set goals so steadfast that along the way, you don't appreciate the journey there. And you don't appreciate the other opportunities that are granted to you because you put that hard work out there. The only person that can tell you that you can't is you. So what I'm saying with that is don't listen to the naysayers. The one thing I found initially when I first started to succeed in our industry is that a lot of people that I thought were friends of mine weren't necessarily my friends anymore. And whether that's because of maybe how I acted or they were intimidated or they were jealous or whatever it was. a lot of those people that I thought were my support systems and friends weren't necessarily there with me as I went along that path. So they got to realize with that is with success comes loss. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose confidants. You're going to lose things along the way. So with that loss, you can't continue on with any less enthusiasm than when you started. You know, because at the end of the day, if you're doing good, you're good to people, you're a good person. You can't let these naysayers or negative things that are happening in your life hold you back. So like I said before, the only person that can tell you that you can't is you. And if you want something, you got to go after it day after day after day, whether you fail it, you know, one day, succeed the next. As long as you're progressing forward and not quitting, eventually you're going to find yourself where you want to be. And the biggest part about that finding yourself where you want to be is the same thing that happened to me in my career. That again, I did so many things I never thought I would do. I never thought I'd go pro. I never thought I'd be in a magazine cover. You know, 30 magazines later and over 400, magazines later, meaning I've been in over 400 magazines. I never thought I'd be in a friggin' magazine. I never thought I'd be sponsored by some of the biggest brands in the world, or that I'd travel around, or that somebody would want my freaking autograph, which I think is weird, to be honest. I mean, I'm a regular person. I never thought I would travel all over. I never thought I'd be recognized in an airport. I never thought I would have the opportunity to work with amazing people and amazing athletes, or that I would be friends with the people that I looked up to. Michael O'Hearn, one of them. As I said, back in high school, I looked up to him. As I started my journey, Steve Cook was somebody that I watched closely. Alex Carnero, another person, because it was those two at the beginning of the physique push.
Yeah.
And I watched everything that they did, and so with that, man, like it's so crazy where my career has taken me, but I'm no different than anybody else. I mean, I grew up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I started at the age of 30. If I can do these things, that should definitely show these other people that they can. And we're in a day and age now where anybody can be a billionaire, anybody can be famous, anybody can be successful. You just have to put in the time and effort. And sometimes there's luck. Sometimes there's networking or a connection that you make. Sometimes it's a viral video. You never know, right? But anything can propel you to where you want to be. You just have to be patient and continue to work.
Wow. And I mean, if that does not motivate you to be your best, I don't know what will. I mean, trust the process, love the process, but Brandan hit on everything. And I mean, that's when you know this person knows their, excuse my French, shit. When they have that wisdom and stuff like that. So thank you, Brandan. I appreciate that. And now I want to jump into your most recent endeavor. Like I said, Brandan is a man of many talents, and now CEO is added to that resume. Like I said, you're the mind behind the best tasting peanut butter on earth. Sorry, Jif. Sorry, Skippy. But I mean, you boast flavors like cinnamon toasties, gump butter, the Terminator. I mean, the list goes on of flavors that are inspiring, creative, and really damn good. So, Brandan, how did you come up with this idea? And then what went into starting a peanut butter company?
So as I said, way back when, about 9 years ago, when Nuts and More first started, I was an athlete for them. I grew up poor, didn't have a lot, was with my grandma a lot. And she always made me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time. So, it's nostalgic. It's something that I've always loved. I don't know a lot of fitness competitors that don't love peanut butter. So I started with Nuts and More, left their company, worked for some other brands. And before I knew it, all of these brands were sending me peanut butter. Man, I'd have like 80 jars of peanut butter in my cupboard. And, people kept telling me, well, why don't you start your own? And I talked about it for 2 years. I'd always, I'm going to do it. Well, I didn't know the first thing about doing it, actually. So about 3.5 years ago, for New Year's Eve, it was my New Year's resolution, I'm going to start a peanut butter company. And that's what I did. I started with 5 flavors, 3 flavored, 2 regular, and started slow and built it from there, and with the brand, we've got about 50 total flavors that we've created or that I've, developed and put out there. And we've got a lot of fanfare. We've got great reviews. We've been Olympic sponsors. We've been in magazines and videos and all sorts of stuff that, again, I never thought I would find myself doing. It's allowed me to connect with a lot of amazing people out there, and athletes and actors and all sorts of stuff. And it's been fun, man. Obviously Fokken nuts. It's fun to say. Um, the one down shoot with that is, we tried to grow during the pandemic, which hurt a lot of businesses. Luckily, we made it through that. But our overall plan was grocery and all this stuff, and that inhibited growth, unfortunately. So we're kind of realigning ourselves right now. We're also working with some other companies, some other brands out there, and we're helping them get some footing. I partner with Jay Cutler on Jay's Pet Spread. Kind of came in as a consultant. Jay's a massive, massive pet lover, as am I, and kind of help bring something that he wanted to do to fruition. And he's just started a pre-sale launch, which is awesome. It's happy. I'm happy to see it. And that's another individual. I mean, Jay's the nicest guy in the freaking industry. I can't say enough amazing things about Jay and how he's always been cool to me and treated me and whatnot. So to be able to be involved in that and help him, with that new brand has been awesome. So yeah, we're trucking along now, and the industry kind of continues to change, and you always have to come up with something new, like the Terminator and Gump Butter and everything else. And it is exhausting. It's a side thing for me. It's not my full-time job. It's not what I do, necessarily to put food on the table. It's a passion. And sometimes it gets tough, it gets busy, and you get customer service, and you got to create posts and giveaways and, spread flavors and all that. And it's a lot of work. So, if there wasn't a passion there, I probably wouldn't still be doing it.
And I think everything has a reason. I mean, the simple start of your grandma making peanut butter and jelly has turned into you now owning a successful peanut butter and company. So I think everything happens for a reason. And I mean, guys, go check out this peanut butter, because honestly, I don't think anything's more creative, tastes better. So I mean, I don't know what else to say, but also, Brandon, I mean, the one good thing is not only can you use this in just the fitness industry, like you said, you can be in the grocery store. You can be, I mean, shoot, this can be such a versatile product, which I think is really genius and really smart. So, I mean, we are talking to Brandan Fokken, one of the best to do it, a CEO. I mean, this man has so many talents, so much wisdom. Brandon, it's been an honor and privilege. But before we get you out of here, are you down for some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's go.
Favorite cheat meal?
So I don't really have cheat meals per se. Back in the day, it was a burger and fries, sweet potato fries, but now, I just kind of eat what I want. I'm very consistent in my diet. So for me, cheat meal, I'm going to be honest, this is surprising because people will look at me and, I'm relatively pretty lean year round. I honestly eat every day almost a jar to a jar and a half of peanut butter every day, every single day.
All right, peanut butter's got protein in there, so I mean, it's a protein snack. We'll put it at that. All right.
Yep. So that's kind of in place. It's a routine. I've done it for almost probably three and a half years. Every day.
Speaking of peanut butter, favorite peanut butter that you guys have?
Currently, I like my crunchy spread. It's just sea salt and peanuts. But butterscotch ripple. I put quinoa in it, so it's got a crunch. It's almost like a Rice Krispie. That currently is my favorite spread. And then Gump Butter, which has all the movie treats. That's a new one. I've been a fan of that. And that's the thing, is I rotate a lot of flavors. White chocolate's great, or monster cookie, or all of them are great. Obviously, I had to approve all of them. But butterscotch ripple currently.
And I mean, Brandon, in that butterscotch, you said there's quinoa. So I guess that's going to count as my veggies for the day once I get that in. So, Brandon, favorite movie, Forrest Gump or The Terminator?
So it's funny. Obviously, I've got Gump Butter and The Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Forrest Gump. If we were talking about Terminator 2, I would say Terminator 2 over Forrest Gump.
All right.
I'm a bigger fan of 2 than I am of 1. So.
Okay. So Forrest Gump and then Terminator 2 over Forrest Gump. All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Favorite cereal, Brandon?
Favorite cereal. So in college, I used to have an entire pantry with like 15 to 20 cereals at all times. I ate cereal like crazy, crazy during college.
Ooh,
So I'm just going to name a few. You know,
I
you
love it.
got Frosted Flakes, Honey Bunch of Oats, um, O's, Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles. I mean, I'm an equal opportunity cereal person, man. I can eat all different cereals. That's the thing, man. I can eat kind of anything and everything, and not really get too uptight about it. So
I'm glad you mentioned Lucky Charms because that is my favorite cereal. And you guys actually do have a Lucky Charms peanut butter. So if you guys love Lucky Charms and you love peanut butter, it's a perfect combination. Last two are the big questions on this show, Brandon.
okay.
One, talk like Rocky Balboa for the rest of your life, or have to box Rocky in his prime.
I'd box him in his prime.
Oh, let's go. I love that answer. There we go. And I wouldn't even just throw you in there. I'd give you like 5 months of training or something like that. I love that. Ooh.
So, I mean, you look at today, right? So there's nothing wrong with the way that Rocky speaks. I mean, at the end of the day, he'll say he's got an impediment or whatever, but you also get the opportunity to fight greatness, right? I'm not a boxer. I'm not a fighter, but being able to get in the ring. I mean, look at Logan Paul and all these guys. I mean, they're stepping in with potentially some greats. And yeah, I mean, he would hand me my butt, and I know that, period. But at the end of the day, I fought greatness, and greatness whipped my ass. So,
I mean, and Brandon, you get a fat payday. So I mean,
yep.
you'd fight greatness and get a fat payday. So yeah, I love that answer. I'd go in there too and do it. I would probably do it without the money just so I could say I fought Rocky Balboa. I mean, shit. I could tell my grandchildren and my children and all that. I mean,
Yep.
I'd be the coolest grandpa out there.
That's one thing about being my age, real quick, is I want to show people what's possible, right? Like, don't let age, I mean, like I said, I'll be 43. Don't let age inhibit, what you do. Because at the end of the day, you getting in there and doing something, you don't realize how you can affect somebody else by just getting out there and living your life, so to speak, and doing something like that and stepping in front of greatness. I mean, just imagine how that would affect other people.
Brandon, I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were like 24 or something. So that 43 number was kind of a surprise to me, my guy. So, wow. Final question. Now, this is the big one: pull-ups or chin-ups?
Pull-ups.
Boom.
Yeah, and we don't do the Kipling pull-ups either. No offense, CrossFitters. That's just not my thing. I'd probably kill myself doing that. So
Yeah,
none of them.
those are questionable. I'd say it counts, the Kipling ones, but the real pull-ups are definitely more challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking to Brandan Fokken. Brandon, it has been such an honor and privilege having you on. Now, before we go, is there anything you want to plug? Where we can find your peanut butter? Any advice? The floor is yours.
Doing a lot of exciting stuff this year. So you can find us at FokenNuts.com. I am going to be getting back into the supplement world sometime next year. So watch my social media. Everything's at Brandan Fokken on all social media pages. Along with that, I've got Pop Fitness, Progress Over Perfection. Some detailed training, everything from prep, lifestyle, macro training, all that stuff. So that's just about to launch. So again, watch my social or check out popfitness.com. Beyond that, man, just I appreciate you having me on and letting me chat with you and everybody out there. And if I can ever help anybody or answer any questions, reach out to me, social media, DM me, and I'm always here to help.
And I mean, thanks for watching. But guys, the first person to buy one of Fokken Nuts and DMs me a picture, I'll have a special present surprise for you. And now, I mean, all this talk of peanut butter has made me really damn hungry. So I just got to say it. Underdog out. Check out Brandon's content. Check out Brandon's peanut butter. But until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.